we're not all that different, right? It's all, the money's all coming from somewhere. The real issue is who has access to the money, right? And why are they getting access to the money? As a lender, I mean, I personally am starting over again. It's a small little business. We have the opportunity to build a business with people who know what they're doing and want to do this with us the right way.
Welcome back to Real Investing. Tim Herrick here with my co-host and friend, Ron Harper.
Howdy, howdy.
And my good friend, Robert Greenberg.
Hello, everyone.
This is a special episode because it's accompanied by a press release. My friend Robert has joined Ternus as the Executive Vice President of Strategy.
What does that mean?
Well, hang on. That's a good question. My next disclaimer is this is not a Ternus commercial. We're going to talk about the lending environment for real estate investors nationwide. So what does EVP of Strategy mean?
Sure.
I believe in having a line of succession when you run a large company and you have people that count on you for a payroll.
So basically, you're the number one. You're looking for a number two that when you stroke out, he can step in.
Correct. Cool. I said that in a previous episode.
He's claiming my joke.
What I'm hoping it isn't is just cleaning up after Tim.
And you and I were together long enough that you know it probably will be some of that.
Yeah.
No, so look, I mean, Robert, I would argue there has not been another person that has held a consistent executive position in the single-family investment lending space institutional nationally, for the last 10 years more than Robert. He joined me at B2R in March or April of 2014. And other than, what you call it the other day, a hiatus, a couple-month hiatus?
Yeah, a little hiatus with another little firm. Has
been, in essence, a C-level executive at a national lending company for that last 10 years.
That's an interesting way to start this conversation because single-family real estate investing is very boots on the ground, got to be in the trenches, or at least start in the trenches. And when you hear C-level, you hear completely detached from the trenches. So, do you think you have a good lens to the ground, or
yeah,
you see where I'm going with that?
Totally, absolutely. And I think again, first of all, C-level.
It's just a word.
Bank of America, C-level, right? Blackstone, C-level. There's different levels of C-level, first of all, right? But I do think, in my career path, I've had the opportunity to be involved with some fairly smallish companies and have some success growing them. And a lot of people have said to me, why don't you start your own thing? That kind of, I guess I do have a bit of an entrepreneurial spirit. But I really enjoy taking something and kind of this is out of the incubation stage. This is really happening. It's growing already. But to be able to get involved early and see some trajectory, some real growth, that's how I'm wired. That's what I really like.
Real quick, sorry, Derek, just because it's a cool point, is something that's really happening and to see it grow is such an interesting point because so many entrepreneurs or people that want to be entrepreneurs, they have ideas that never have legs because they never take action, they never jump off the cliff. So that is usually because so many people say they're going to do this thing, but until you earn money, until you actually have employees, until you're actually doing the thing, it's just a figment.
And Ryan, even that's true of people who kind of jump off the cliff, but they don't build the infrastructure. They don't do some of the fundamental stuff to be able to grow successfully. So they've kind of jumped, and now they're heading towards the inevitable crash.
So I kind of break down the way I've orchestrated this company is the first 8 to 10 months was planning. And I counted the other day, there were 25 different financial models, actually 26, but 25 sounds better, of just iterations of, no, I don't like that, change this. No, I don't like that, change this. And then I would have a meeting with a capital partner or an investor, and they wouldn't want me to change things. So there's up until December, it was planning. The first 6 months of this year, really January through June, were what I refer to now as the foundational phase. And it was just kind of get things going. Let people know who we are. See if this works. And now the latter half of the year, I consider myself in the organizational phase. And so now it's like, bring on more chess pieces, fix the technology. There were things that got you by, and there's things that are going to get you through. Mm-hmm. And so now we're like, so we built the company on HubSpot. It was cheap and fast. But we're in the process of moving to Salesforce. That is expensive, complicated, but scaled.
Do you think it's worth it?
Oh, absolutely.
To go from HubSpot to
Zero down. And I know a guy that's done a lot of Salesforce organization for large lending companies that's going to help me out. If you're listening, not watching, I'm pointing to my right at Robert. But no, so it's important to say what he said, but I'll also say it's been part of the plan, but I didn't know I could make it happen, and I definitely never imagined that I'm going to share. It's kind of like God's working really in my favor this year. Brian Partridge, my VP of Sales, completely not available, not willing to relocate to Dallas. I was not willing to hire remote, and then my niece got hurt. And then I realized that I was one bad thing away from not being able to run the company, and I had to bring on an adult in the room that had done this before that could help me get where I wanted to go, and my vision wouldn't die if something happened. And then that was just an overnight success. And then we were having operational challenges. And it just so happened this lady named Lacey became available at the right time that Brian had worked with that had closed. They were closing 1,000 loans a month. Most big companies in this business don't even close that. So, like, she was like an upgrade to anything I could have imagined. And I got her below market because she was looking for a change because the residential mortgage market just sucks right now. I was doing business with Robert's previous company a month ago, but they let go of the CEO. And the CEO retired. You probably met him, Jeff Tennus. Mm-hmm. And Jeff was the big proponent of the business line that Robert started and managed. And Robert and the company parted on fantastic terms, and they decided they didn't want to do that anymore. And we will do business at Ternus with them. So, like, I never thought he'd be available. I called him. I was like, holy crap, Jeff left. What are you doing? And he was like, I don't know. And here we are 3 months later, and now he's in charge of strategy, product development, and really looking around the corner and down the street while I have to have my head down running the company.
Another way to say what you're saying, it's similar but not fully there, is the team that got you here may not be the team that gets you there. And RJ Bates he said this analogy years ago. I haven't talked to him in a minute, and it's such a good analogy. If you look at the early days of Netflix programming, the actors they used were decent actors, and they did decent work. But once Netflix got that money, they brought in real brand name actors.
Right.
So, and you're like, oh, that makes sense being in the world I'm in, where it's like now Netflix, every single new Netflix show has big brand name people. So the team that got you here, it may not.
I think that axiom is true kind of across the board. I mean, almost every business, the founder eventually gets to the point where, I mean, even looking at Google, the founders are still there, but you look at how many people were a part of something and have moved on to something else and are now running other successful companies. It's just the needs of a company, especially at a young small point in time, is just completely different than it becomes as you grow.
Yeah.
So there are 5 partners at Ternus, and I have not had every executive I've hired has 25 plus years experience in their core competency that they're bringing, that they're going to perform at Ternus. The only person in the entire company that probably has the same amount of experience as the most experienced executive I've hired is one of my partners who shall remain nameless. I say that because I have intentionally made myself the least experienced member of the executive committee. Because if those 4 individuals, controller, 26 years, Lacey, 27 years, Brian, 26 years, Robert, a lot more. I won't date you, buddy. You still look good. I think I will look older than you now. But the point is, if those 4 come to a consensus at an executive committee meeting, I'd be a massive moron to not just say, yep, let's do that.
You know, I'm as we sit here, and you know, when we film these, we film 3, 4, 5 at a time, and it's interesting how this is real investing. You know, talking about real everyday investor, real estate investing type content, and inevitably, what happens is we start talking about general business and general entrepreneurship, and the epiphany I just had is the fact that the reason these conversations actually steer there is because it's a universal concept where, because we could talk about what's the cost of a doorknob or a faucet or whatever, but the reality is, like, just go to Home Depot and look for yourself. The real higher level conversations are the stuff that we're having here that are universal for pretty much every business out there. And I'm sorry that it took so long for me to get there. It just, you know.
That's what's real in investing.
Yeah.
You have to understand it's not a hobby, it's a business.
It's a business.
And if you start running it like a business, the yield is so much greater than you could even imagine.
Well, you know, we all have known how stupid people are when it comes to, like, let me paint the walls a certain color because that's what I like versus what did the comp say?
One of the colors Ron talks about is eggshell.
My favorite color is eggshell.
Robert.
Everybody likes it.
See?
Robert, you've done everything from create crowdfunding platforms to work with brokers. Some of the creative I've seen you come up with, talking about the customer and their aspirations. You've always been like, it doesn't matter what we want, what's the customer want?
Absolutely. Could
Could you talk maybe like, what's that journey been like for 10 years? You've had to have met thousands and thousands of real estate investors.
100%. What I think is the most fascinating and most fun part of this business is how many different ways there are to make money. There are so many people that I've met in this past decade that have a different. We're all doing real estate investing, but they're focused on one little thing or another, and just, you know, so many different ways to make money is just fascinating to me. And the thing that's been gratifying for me is I've been on the capital side, right? So the common denominator for all of them is they need capital. And I've had the great fortune and the opportunity to be able to provide capital to guys that are running a good business, hopefully, you know, certainly done bad loans and had deal with that sort of thing. But it is really gratifying to be able to provide capital for people. And it's like another one of those the win-win, you know. We win by lending money, they win by getting access to money, and everybody makes money. It's really it's an awesome thing. And in this industry, what the cherry on top is the community at large benefits. You know, the community, you know, neighborhoods get better. The properties improve in value. The people that are already living there benefit. So it's just an awesome space.
I thought you would have something on that. I got more. I just didn't want to argue with you. So, capital, space. We know our customers mainly don't understand what the hell we're talking about. What if you had to break down kind of like the common thread of personality that you've met that borrows money in this space? I know you've been on credit committees. You've had to handle foreclosures and defaults. Like, I don't know. I've asked you to come to Ternus and go create more products, create new things, find a way for us to serve the customer. I don't know. What are some ideas you have? Like, what kind of products are out there or opportunities are out there that the customer wants? I'm not saying we could do it, but let's just dream big here.
Right.
Ryan's in charge.
Yeah.
Give me all the money.
Yeah.
With negative percentage.
One of the things that I've and I'm not sure this is what the customer wants. I think it would benefit the customer and it would make a ton of sense. And I've advocated this for years, and I've tried to make something like this happen. I think, and we may even cut this out, I think the ability to go to a sponsor, somebody borrowing money, and say, I'm going to invest with you, right? You're not going to get my absolute best deal up front. I'm going to be competitive. I'm going to try to win your business with what our cost of money is and what's going to be market for you. But on the back end, when you show me success, when you get out of the deal, I'm going to give you a piece of what I made on the front end. And I'm going to want to do it again and again and with you. So basically, you're going to get the better value from working with us as a lender. It's deferred. You're going to get it on the back end instead of the front end. You're not going to get my best deal on the front end, but I'll share with you something on the back end.
Like a success rebate almost.
Exactly that. And so what you hopefully do there is attract people who are going to get it done, know they're going to get it done, and you can look at their schedule of real estate owned. You can look at their track record. You can often tell who's going to be successful, right? That's part of the magic of looking at experience. But what I think one of the crazy great values of what we do as a lender is say, hey, we'll go with you on this ride. We'll give you the money you need, and we'll make it more lucrative to you on the back end instead of the front end. Everybody's trying to compete on the front end.
I have an idea for you guys.
Shoot.
As an investor, what do you need to be successful?
Dependable, consistent capital.
Before that?
Deals.
Before that?
A plan?
Leads.
Well, that's what deal. Oh, yeah, I got you. Okay,
yeah.
Leads. Yeah.
But how to get leads? Marketing. If marketing is so expensive, what if you could lend for the marketing? And whether that be a credit card model or, hey, y'all pay them, you send them the invoice, and then maybe y'all get paid out from the deal itself.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a conversation on this.
No, I love it. I mean, because one of my frustrations as an investor, and I'll put my investor hat on, has always been the lender will not acknowledge all of my soft costs, all my platform costs, all the money I pay for my CRMs, my office, my assistants, my advertising, my home investors franchise, like all these things I'm spending money on. That is my cost per deal.
Right. And let's go down this rabbit hole and make Robert really uncomfortable. It's like, when it comes to advertising, what's the worst thing you could do is put your advertising, hey, I'm spending $5,000 this month. Well, let's wait and see how that plans out. No, you got to do $5,000 next month, and then $5,000 the next month. Because in reality, it's going to be 3 months before you even see the full effect of that first month.
At least, right?
At least,
exactly.
It's a cumulative effect.
Here's my initial reaction to that.
I want 1 point if this actually goes through.
Yeah. Well, here's my take on this is like, I think you were asking a minute ago about how do you know who's going to be successful, right? And I think the experience is certainly important, but the person who brings you a real package, knows what they're doing, understands their entire business as an investor, has good records, is able to produce all of the documents that they need to get a loan without it turning into a 6-week project, pulling shit out of the shoebox, right, trying to figure out, who they are and what's this project all about. A really buttoned-up file, right? That is, and also part of somebody running a good business is they know how to get leads, they know how to source their assets, they know what they're running a good business. So to try to usurp that and put that on us as a lender and say, hey, we're going to help you, we're going to dole out leads for you to go figure out how to go find properties. I kind of, it may be wrong of me, but like we can, I think we can only be good at so much.
Can we ideate just a little bit more and then actually get back on topic? Please, fire away. What if?
I mean, Mike Hambrot's over there pontificating like, what's for dinner?
Right. Okay, but what if you did I don't want to say home investors, but what if you did a franchise model or it's an academy type based thing where they have to come through your boot camp?
No, I do love that.
Let me finish.
Okay.
And you send them through like a 10-week, 3-month, 6-month intensive educational program that it's sponsored by you guys. You train them, but guess what? After that program, it's a franchise and we have 20% of your business for the next 5 years or for eternity, and we will not guarantee, but we will be your lender as well on all that.
And the model is out there. I mean, the mastermind groups are essentially that.
You have to pay into those.
Exactly. I mean, so
this could be an application based.
100%. And I've worked with lenders. I've had that conversation many, many times. The Ternus mastermind group, where there's no fee, we find the guys that really that know what they're doing, want to be involved, want to use our money. And you know, our money is not any different. I love where Tim was. I don't know. I saw this. Everybody gets their money from somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So we're not all that different, right? It's all, the money's all coming from somewhere. The real issue is who has access to the money, right? And why are they getting access to the money? And as a lender, I mean, I personally am starting over again. It's a small little business. We have the opportunity to build a business with people who know what they're doing and want to do this with us the right way.
I'll tell you what I've learned when he keeps saying small little business.
Isn't it?
It makes me excited. Like literally, in the first 8 months of this business, we funded $12 million worth of loans.
Yeah,
which was really 7 months because we didn't do anything in January. In the next 30 days, by the time this episode airs, I'll do an additional $10 million, almost double in 30 days what it took.
Yeah,
really 6 months to do.
Growth. Yeah.
So I just know the time is now. The right time is right now to be where we're at today. So you can call it small, new. It is.
Yeah.
RCN, which I'm still on the board, does hundreds of millions a month. It will take me another year to equal 1 month of their production.
Right.
I'm cool with that.
Right.
Yeah.
I am cool with that because here's the deal. To your question to Robert that I'm going to answer even though you didn't ask me to. I don't want to have my own academy.
Okay.
What I understand about this industry, having had to fight it from boots on the ground all the way to the top, and then back to the bottom, and then back to the top, then back to the bottom, that's just the way it works, is we're a referral-based industry. I'll talk about my competitor, Kelly Smith at Easy Street Capital. Everyone on Facebook refers her for everything, and they've never done a damn loan with her. But she bought their last drink, or she sponsored the last thing, or she said thank you on the last post. I would rather partner with one of Robert's first trips for Ternus will be the family mastermind with Matt Andrews, who Mike Hambright talked about. 250 real estate coaches that are spending all their time and energy cultivating customers. I want to get to know them. I want to get to know their members. I want to create a specialized loan product for each one of them where we can help their members be successful, which helps them be successful. And then we can pay referral fees to everyone, and everyone gets happy. Everyone makes money multiple ways, and we help everyone grow and succeed. I would rather be a part of other success than to try to own the whole ecosystem myself. That's my idea. Referral fees, multi-level marketing, pay it 2 ways, 2-tier, rock and roll. But he may change my mind.
Well, and you looked at me like you wanted me to make a comment on that.
I'm just here hanging out.
I do think, and this conversation brings me back to, you remember, I don't remember what year it was with the what I consider, I think about the Charlie Sheen School of Marketing, where at winter, remember that
The tiger thing or whatever.
I think he just winner, it was some weird
Winner.
It was some weird
winning.
winning, and I remember that. I don't remember what year it was. I'm gonna have to go back and look this up. But the truth of this business and most enterprises, we talked earlier about you going to SMU's MVP program. People want to be with people who are winning, right? So and that creates a fraternity of sorts, right?
Right.
And so, like, if we can build an organization with people who are successful and are winning at their game, they'll help us win, and it'll feed each other. And I think that, and so many people, I think, who get into hard money lending, private money lending, they just want to do a transaction. They just, hey, I'm going to close a loan, and and just like we close. We closed $3 million worth of loans this month. We're going to close $5 million next month. We're going to, and they're just not at all. They just want to close loans, right? I think it's really key to who are you closing loans with, and that certainly has a lot to do with on the back end. Who are you going to do? What loans are you dealing with after you've closed them?
Yeah, it's interesting because we spent 5-10 minutes ideating on different product lines, but the reality is why? You don't need to, because there's always going to be real estate. And you're always going to need money to buy real estate versus like in our world, AI is going to take over the world. AI is not going to replace money. AI is not going to replace real estate. I mean, they're tools, but you are always going to need money and you're always going to have the real estate.
So I haven't even shared this with Robert yet.
New AI money.
Congrats. I resisted establishing core values at Ternus.
Yeah.
And I did it because everybody says, try EOS, go with traction. And I've been at a lot of companies where it was a hollow exercise where people would just put crap on the wall that didn't mean anything. And if you asked the employees, 8 out of 10 could not tell you what they are. I would bet you that 9 out of 10 of my team can tell you exactly the 5 core values that I set, and here's why. I went to the boardroom mastermind in June, and I got my butt torn up that I had to have core values, and not to put on the wall, but because I, as the founder, had to establish the core principles that guide the decisions and the actions at our company. And I struggled with it. And so I opened up ChatGPT in the conversation mode and explained to it that I hate core values, and I think it's a waste of time. But I've been told to do it, and if I'm going to do it, damn it, it's going to mean something. And I talked about the Marine Corps values of honor, courage, and commitment, and how I thought honor was very important, courage was very important, commitment seemed like a waste of time because you already signed the contract. I talked about the real core values of the Marine Corps are improvise, adapt, and overcome, because we never meet a challenge that we can't find a way to duct tape or blow up our way around it. And then, John Nolan's over there shaking his head. Then I said, but I talked to my partner, and his biggest thing is hustle. You have to hustle. And my VP the other day said, we have a job to do today. There's a lack of sense of urgency. And then I talked about the 3 core values that I believe are essential to this business: speed, transparency, dependability. As a lender in the real estate investment transaction, I have to be fast. I better not bullshit you. And if I say I'm going to do it, I better show up at closing with the money, because I could cost you $50,000, $100,000, $300,000. Like, it's real money for the customer. Hang on. So, go ahead, because I'll tell you about core values later.
Well, I was just saying, I completely agree with you on the core value thing. Like, everybody, you got to have it. So, like, we have posters on our wall because we have like 37 core values, because, I'm exaggerating. It's probably like 8, but that's too many. But I've been doing a lot of this leadership, to your point, with SMU, a lot of the classes, a lot of readings, a lot of audiobooks to prepare for this thing. And it's like, so right now, it's not a core value, but it's like, it's not even a mission statement, but I've been trying to figure out a better way to instill to the team what we need to do. And it's like, and this, I haven't found a foundation on this, but it's basically beautiful films fast or quickly, something like that, where it needs to look really good, have really good quality. You got to be fast with it. It's almost mirror image of what you just said, but for the film world.
So we were on our way back from our annual Father's Day fishing trip, and I'm doing this on ChatGPT conversation mode, and I'm in Shreveport. I remember, because my son's in the passenger seat rolling his eyes, like, could you please stop?
Yeah.
Like, because we're an hour in. I mean, I've already been driving 8 hours. Might as well, like, get some work done, right? Well, I came up with 2 options. Because I also said, as a Marine, you'll appreciate this, that it had to be an acronym. Because acronyms are for stupid people. And stupid people can remember an acronym, then they can remember what it stands for. And so I came up with 2 acronyms. One was HITS, H-I-T-S, which was honor, integrity, transparency, and speed. And I sent that to Jennifer, and the other was STARS. And STARS stood for speed, transparency, accountability, respect, and service.
On the hits, can you just change it to shit?
You could.
That'd be easier to remember.
But that's not going on the wall. Unless you're a shithead.
Or it might be like, maybe not, Tim.
So I sent it to Jennifer. She's like, absolutely STARS. I said, okay, I agree. Sounds better than hits. And I like the idea of having 5 instead of 4. So then I sent them to Brian and Lacey, the only 2 executives at the time. And Lacey immediately wrote back, I actually gave them both choices to see if Jennifer was wrong, which she never is, and this proved the case. Lacey writes back immediately, I love the idea of STARS because then we can give out STARS awards that then reinforces the core values and people learn how we apply them. I was like, okay, perfect. Because speed, like I said, so I'm going to go over my STARS now. And I give a STARS award every week, and it's nominated by the executives. And they get a $50 Amazon gift card. And I send an email to the whole company telling them why Ryan Harper got the STARS award. You don't get a $50 Amazon gift card. Speed, right? Because people don't care about my rate, points, or fees if I move fast and I can close tomorrow.
Right.
Transparency. I want a culture to where, as a lender, I tell the customer, I am not sure about your deal. Keep looking for money. And I call you back 2 days later and say, Ryan, did you find the money yet? No. Great. I got a deal for you. Got it approved. I'd rather do it that way than say, oh, yeah, I can get your deal done, and then call you 2 days later, say I can't do it, and now you lost $100,000. Accountability. We're going to own our own mistakes, right? I sent an email to my team today. Said, look, I need you to make sure you focus on this Salesforce thing that's due in 2 weeks. I have not done a good job on it. It has not been a focus of mine. This is more important than anything else you're working on for me. Please help me. That's just accountability. I haven't done a good job on it. I've wasted a lot of money on it. I've been busy with other things. Respect. We're going to respect ourselves. We're going to respect our teammates, and we're going to respect our customers. And in service, because, look, Ron, we make millionaires. Like, literally, I come from nothing, and without hard money, without creative finance, without real estate investor industries, lenders, it's just done so much for me. So, like, you have to respect your role in these people's future, and you're a service to that. And so that's what we came up with. And so far, it's really helped focus the decisions we make. And I'll tell you this, the reason I brought this up, the products that I'll ask and hope that Robert creates are the products that align with those values.
So Robert has a new employee new executive, of Ternus. How do you feel about those core values, and how does that align with your personal core values?
I mean, yeah, where do you go with that?
He's gonna be like, first thing I'm fucking doing is changing them good damn core values.
No,
I'm cool as shit. That's what the offside's for.
you just heard him eloquently talk about, what STAR stands for. And I mean, how do you not buy into that? I think as it relates again to the customer, speed is always important. That's the one absolute certainty. A lack of speed will kill a deal, right? And that's the whole reason, if that's the whole reason this industry exists, right? To be able to get to the capital quickly. And for me personally, I completely buy into it. I think, the one thing that, and particularly lately, to be able to tell a customer, I don't know, I don't think so, versus just lead them along is so important, right? It's so much better for them to get a fast no or even a fast maybe, right? Like like Tim said, keep looking, right? I may not be your answer on this one, but when you are the answer, I'm going to get it done and be known for that, right? People so much appreciate the honesty and the transparency. And I feel like, again, I've just recently closed a chapter of my career. It's been so gratifying to have so many people say nice things to me. It's been how the relationship with me has evolved over the period of time that I've been with the company. I think that comes from being a genuine, honest, transparent person. I'm just not the kind of guy that is playing a bunch of games and trying to, I do want to get shit done. And sometimes that ruffles some feathers and makes things awkward for people. But as it relates to being able to serve a customer and do the right thing for the customer, there is nothing better than to just be honest from the get-go. And I've seen it. I've been around it a lot. There's a lot, and it's completely understandable. Most of the people that are in the sales side of this business only make money when they close a deal. So when an opportunity, which is a potential loan, arises, the last thing they want to do is put it at risk. They do not want to let it go. They do, they want to covet it and try to, get it to grow and make sure that they're the only one that have the opportunity to be able to tell our salespeople that, look, if it's not in our wheelhouse, let it go. And if it's a maybe, make sure the customer knows. I mean, honestly, this is the first time I've ever heard Tim talk about that. Like, if it's a maybe, keep looking. And then the beauty is, if you call them back 2 or 3 days later and say, I think I can get this done, and they still haven't found a place to go with it, man, you're going to be even a bigger hero.
You're going to get the first bite at every apple they ever find.
Exactly.
Because they know that,
You'll be
Ternus
honest.
is going to... So Ternus is Latin for threefold. That's the way I came up with it.
Threefold?
Threefold.
What does that mean?
So Simon Sinek, Start With Why. It's all about 3 pillars. And we stand on 3 pillars: speed, transparency, dependability. We are going to tell you the truth. We are going to move fast, and we're going to do what the hell we say we're going to do. And that's why the logo has 3 triangles that are 3 different colors. And it's just built on those 3 pillars. And because he and I, 10 years ago, created an industry that got so far away from being fast, transparent, and dependable that it became more painful than a lot of medical procedures. So we don't pull credit. We don't get appraisals. We underwrite comps and make a quick decision like we're going to buy the house.
What was that experience like? I mean, I had a front row seat to a lot of it, but now that we've had 10 years removed from that, and y'all are both in the trenches, because from a single family world, everything has to be quick. It has to be fast. It has to be this. And then from my point of view, looking at that industry, it was like pulling teeth to get a giant, oil tanker to because you need to be a speedboat. And they were like, so what was that like?
So let me take you from 2013 to 2015 when I left the national circus. And then I'll let him take you from 2015 to this year. 2013, I showed up at Blackstone, and they're like, minimum loan size is $10 billion. And I'm looking at my spreadsheet like, great, there's 7 people we can loan to.
Right.
Fantastic business. They're like, okay, well then, minimum 20 properties. And like, oh, cool. We're down to 700 people we can loan to, great business. And, then in 2014, we got it down to where our portfolio loans were down to 3 properties at $300,000. Right. So mind you, we went from a $10 million portfolio minimum in October of 2013 to, by the time we got mid-2014, it was either 3 or 5 properties and $300,000 to $500,000.
And that was just amount of educating the hiring.
No,
to
it was
say,
tracking.
look,
It was data. It was closed loss reason. I would talk to Robert. Robert would say, hey, I only have 5 properties at $500,000, and we would record that. And every month I'd go to the board and say, look, this is how stupid we are. Everyone that calls us
them because they live on Wall Street and everything's $1 billion, jillion dollars per deal. And they're like, that's not this industry.
And there's not a ton of great data in the industry. So many, you're in the consumer packaged goods business where grocery products. Nielsen knows exactly how many rolls of toilet paper were sold last week, right? Things are tracked. People know how many people watched the debate last night, right? Everything is super tracked.
Well, they knew about midnight.
Exactly. They knew it while it was going on, right? And, so in this industry, it's so difficult to get an understanding of how many people have how many properties, how many loans have they gotten, how many loans have performed successfully. All of that stuff is still very difficult. It's getting better. It's a whole lot better than it was 10 years ago. I mean, there's some data out there now that really allows you to understand, who is actually, even by market, who's doing the most number of loans.
I have to apologize because I think that is a really good conversational topic that we should have started with. And as Tim was looking at his watch, I think if we're not careful, we could be here for another 2 hours talking about that.
Right. This was going to be quick when I sat down.
Look, at Ternus, we're going to put some of this information out there. I'll just tell you this. I'll go ahead and bridge the gap. We spent 2014 trying to shove a square peg into no hole. That wasn't even a round hole. By 2015, we were originating single asset debt service coverage ratio rental loans that had never existed in the history of single family real estate. Today, there's a little more than $10 billion of that product done every year, and it's 75% of the private lending industry. And I'll tell you this: here's the most crazy part of it. There'll be 4 million residential transactions this year. 30% of those will be investors. Tracking? 1.2 million transactions. Investors. The biggest lender in the nation this year will do about 11,000 transactions. So here we are 10 years later after starting it. There's no one with a 10% market share. As the executive MBA guy, you'll learn that's called a blue ocean. It means it's wide open. So the reason I started Ternus is everybody else gets distracted by brokers. And I don't want to work with brokers. Now, Brian and Lacey and Robert and Alicia may override me. And that's part of what I did. I hired up so that they could manage up. And if that's what they decide to do out of the offsite, I will support it if it's siloed. But I know for a fact. So take that 1.2 million transactions, and let's say half of them pay cash. We'll never take a single loan. Great, we're down to 600,000 transactions. And let's say half of those transactions will only ever borrow from their best friend, private money lender, Dr. Dennis guy. We're down to 300,000 transactions.
And the biggest player already owns how many?
11,000.
It's one of the few industries that's so fragmented that the number 1, 2, 3, up to 10 share player all have hardly less than 10 market share. It's amazing. It really is. And the fact that it's been that way and there is definitely the largest players are definitely getting bigger, but it's not like Coke and Pepsi, like where there's 20, 30 share points between each of them.
But Ternus is going to be Coke. Because we're going to always force ourselves to align with the customer and not chase dollars. We're not going to chase volume. We're not going to chase brokers. We're not going to chase what executes the best at Wall Street. We will stay committed to the customer on the ground. We will create products and offerings that meet their needs. And then we will cheat and offer referral fees on 2 levels. That way, when your referral refers someone, they get paid too, and you get paid on that referral. And it's already happening today. And it's already starting to multiply. Because have you ever met anyone in this industry that turned down money? Have you ever met anyone in this industry? And you've met thousands and thousands and thousands of these customers. Any of them that say, you know what? I'm not referring you because I haven't yet done a transaction with you.
And this thing is like, you were talking about, and then we can end on this because I know everybody in the room wants to get fed.
Sorry.
You're talking about creating millionaires. And I look back at my career with you or and with Propelio or with even myself or whatever, the amount of introductions, the amount of education, the amount of whatever I put out there, me personally, I know has been extremely impactful. But to date, I've been paid one time on a referral. I don't understand that math. It was Casey Smith. She paid me $1,000 because I introduced person A to person B, and they did a deal. She's like, here, thank you for that referral. Now, in the last 15 years, 14 years, whatever years it was, how many referrals have I made across many industries?
Thousands.
Yeah. There's even one guy, I'll blast him here, and just like, because it's in Bitcoin mining world. I literally have LinkedIn messages of us going back and forth talking about referral fee, his referral fee for the project he listed out was $50,000. I was like, I'll do that. And I refer, you know who Will Crozier is?
Yeah.
I sent him Will Crozier. They did a deal. And I'm like, cool, I'm glad to hear y'all did a deal. How do you pay this out? He's like, oh, well, we never agreed to anything. Excuse me? He's like, well, we never signed anything. I was like, we've got how many messages here and emails? Yeah, but we never agreed to anything. It was my first professional you email. I said,
no, listen, it all comes down to integrity. And I'm going to point at a guy that's out of the screen, Mike Hambright. Years ago, we did a list exchange. This was like before everybody else did it.
It's like,
And still, every couple months, I get an email from his parent company. It's like, hey, update your W-9. We need to send you some money. And I'm just like, oh, yeah. And it's always like $800 or $1,000 or whatever.
Right.
And I always just give it to Jennifer. And I say, look, this is from Mike. Next time he invites us over, we should say yes. Because I just want to go have drinks with the guy and eat the bread that his wife makes. Well, I mean, I don't care about the money.
Well, but my overall point was, one, you know, it's my fault for not getting it written down, but also living in 50 years ago, thinking the handshake's still a handshake.
Right. Well, that was my point. I think you mentioned Casey Smith.
Casey Smith.
You got $1,000.
Yeah.
Was that just gracious, or was that an agreement?
There was never an agreement.
That's my
there's
point.
An industry standard of
right.
like, and again, I thought.
Yeah, right. And I think, you know, like the standard now is to have an agreement, right? If you perform against the agreement, you get paid, and if you don't, you don't.
Right.
You know, and that's, I mean, I think it's great that she threw you $1,000 and that relationship meant something to her.
Right. He's mentoring you right now. Just take it. Just take it.
I'm the idiot.
Just take it.
Got it. I'm the idiot. Next time somebody wants to introduce somebody, I'll be like, what do I get?
Well, and I don't think that guy. And I don't think you are that guy, and I'm not that guy either. I mean, it's hard to be that. But, you know, there are definitely, especially in this business, people know other people that do similar things and have similar needs, and they're always willing, you know, if they're willing to help out. And, you know, and that's honestly one of the hardest things is a lot of times brokers are trying to help somebody, a family member or somebody, and they don't want the person they're helping to know that they're possibly making money on it, you know? So I've developed schemes where they don't need to know.
A scheme is a plan in London. The scheme is the scheme.
All I'm saying is, like, referrals, I think, is a great opportunity for money there.
Program.
There'll be an agreement, and it will be in writing. But also, let me say this, and then I'm done talking because I know we need to eat. It's the way that customers have been marketed to for decades. Affiliate marketing is the most common way of sharing information in this industry. And I think I would be a freaking idiot to not adopt it to grow my company.
To that end, if you would like to get lending from Ternus Lending, go to ternus.com/Ryan S. Harper for that my affiliate code.
And it will redirect to the Real Investing Podcast.
Well, that too. That's
no, look, so you're going to see Robert around the nation. We're going to do our best to keep him super high level, focused on strategies, focused on growth, out of the weeds, but then also a problem solver. We're going to leverage all of his experience and capabilities to make the company better every day. And the thing I love about him, the reason I did everything I could to get him to say yes, is, and this is my advice to the listener, hire someone willing to stand up to you and willing to tell you no. Just last week, on the flight home from Phoenix, Robert was telling one of my partners how stupid what he was saying was. Robert has a history of telling me when I'm wrong. And be a grown-up enough to accept you're wrong. Be a smart enough business person to hire people that know when you're wrong. And that, frankly, has become my secret to success, is hiring people smarter than me and partnering with them and then respecting them and trusting them and letting them do what they're great at and trying to find every way I can not to manage them, but to support them.
Great, very gracious of you.
Hey, thanks for stopping by. We will see you next week.